Hello and welcome to Platos Cave, coming to you from Australia, the land down under. That's right, for Revolution Radio, on Revolution dot Radio. That's right. Hello, one and all. Dave is not with me today. He must be sleeping. I'm sorry. It's old man Dave snoozing away in his bed. That's where you separate the boys from the men. When you've got the midnight show, that's what you do. Boys and the men. I used to. Let me finish the intro, then I'll talk to you. Let me finish the intro. This isn't a fun at radio, so go ahead and donate if you can. Any kind of currency, including crypto, is good. If you cannot, that's okay, because maybe soon none of us will be because of AI. We'll talk about that too. And tell people about the station, right? And if you see us out in the wild, maybe in a short, maybe even long form, come live, come to the chat. It's all good. We got Fleece and the Fleece Batsman. What else do we have here today? Omega Logos, of course, and Matt Painter is here. A whole bunch of folk in the chat room. It's always fun. I'll try to keep an eye on it, but I'm by myself, so that's a bit harder. But yeah, so tell people on the station. And if you do see us out in the wild, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most of all, subscribe. If you see us anywhere, please subscribe to our channel there. It'd be nice to do this for a living one day, before I'm no longer on this mortal coil. You can, like I said, you can get us on pretty much any platform, including on a Grace Tabletop Digital Radio in the comfort of your own home. That's right, pretty good. Now, the archives are free, the Revolution Radio archives. You can just go to the website, revolution.radio, really easy. On the top, there's a whole bunch of buttons. Just click the archive on and it lets you straight in. Free content. Pretty good, I think. Pretty good. Anyway, before I start broadcasting at you in anger, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which I broadcast, and for me, of course, here in beautiful Pemaway, it's the Direct people. And for Dave, it's the snoring majority. And with that, I'd like to pay my respects to others past, present, and future. Thank you very much. Now, enough making fun of Dave. You know, he still has all his teeth, his own teeth. He's growing an extra tooth in his brain. It's his pineal gland slowly calcifying, and apparently there was some teeth growing in his lungs. It's just some kind of calcification there as well. Yes, teeth he has, stamina to stay up and come onto the radio with me, he has not. That's okay. No, but there are some concerns, since we started talking about it already, about the AI transformation that is upon us, and it is a real thing. It's a real thing. It's Let me from a corporate perspective, in a corporate world. I'm in IT in a fairly large company, international American IT services provider, and I've been doing this job. I've been in the company for about 25-ish years, more or less, and I've been in IT for 30-something years. Yeah, but yeah, so mostly I dealt with high value contracts, bidding and trying to win business, etc., etc. But this AI thing is very different to automation. It's different to a whole bunch of other stuff that happened. When it came to saving costs, and we remember globalization, you save the costs, and what you do is you offshore all your labor, India or China or Bangladesh, Pakistan, Venezuela. It doesn't really matter, but you take the labor where it's cheapest. That's where you go. You take your factory there, your call centers, etc., etc. So that's what happened in the first move. One of the first moves of globalization was really that, to save costs. And the company saved huge costs. It's massive. You can't compete. It's impossible. Right now, as far as I remember, I think Vietnamese and Bangladesh, Vietnam and Bangladesh are the cheapest places to offshore your labor to, where we're talking about people get paid a couple $1,000s US a year. A couple of $1,000s US a year. It's enough to live in that country, right? But consider a similar job in the States, in Australia, and Europe would probably cost you $50,000, $100,000, $150,000. Just so that you can see the cost savings that the corporate types like to achieve there, right? But anyway, it's still a person though. Still a person was employed, and that's all goodness. Automation didn't really do that much, to be honest. It did save some. It made it a bit cheaper, and there was some retrenchments around automation, but it wasn't really a massive game changer. I mean, industrialization was a massive game changer when they brought in machines, steam engines, etc., that worked in factories, and got rid of 1,000 people at a time. Remember the typing pool? Scores of ladies typing away. The computer and word processing pretty much took care of that, right? But again, they could be redeployed to different things, etc., etc. This is fundamentally different. The AI revolution is different. Because anyone, it doesn't matter how cheap you are, right? This is the thing. It doesn't matter how cheap you are. Anyone out there working on a computer will be out of a job, right, at some point. And look, conservative estimates put the number at 60 to 80% over the next 10 years. I think it's going to happen faster, and the number might be closer to the 80% mark than the 60% mark. Simply because, the executives want to realize the savings, because the savings are directly tied to their bonuses. Guess what? That's really all that matters to these folk. The bonus they walk away with, because normally corporate leadership, the C-level types I'm talking about, they're only there for 2, 3, 4 years, right? It's very rare. I mean, it does happen, but it's very rare that they're for the long term. Okay, so they get a whole bunch of bonuses. So the rich are getting richer on this. They will, and the chasm, the abyss is getting wider and wider between the rich and the poor. This is what AI is going to do. And it will do away with a whole bunch of people working in offices. You still need people there. But like I said, only 20% of what you used to have. And that's across the world, irrespective. Now, Fleece and the Fleece asked a very interesting question in the chat room. Will AI affect the third world too? Yes, it will. In that it will destroy the offshoring model. So labor arbitrage, like I said, was the big thing when globalization started. We'll take our factories and all our entry-level labor, et cetera, we take it to countries where it's cheaper to manufacture and where it's also cheaper to get the entry-level people. I mean, my job was kind of entry-level when I went to IT. I was field support, so I would, go from desk to desk and fix people's computers in the office. That was my job. And other entry-level jobs were, service desk, etc., which don't really exist that much anymore onshore. They're still there, but the vast majority of those entry-level jobs are now overseas, offshore, in cheap locations. Right? That's the modus operandi there. Now those folk are all going to disappear. All the service desks. If you're on a phone and you're following a script or you're helping someone, even if you're troubleshooting, right? There's no reason for you to exist anymore. I mean, even before AI, when we had automation and fairly clever scripting in which was called robotic process automation, RPA. We could get rid of people, but AI will get rid of all of them, and that will hit the third world fairly hard. And I'll tell you why. Because what we created in the West by taking our labor offshore, we created a middle class, right? So these people were all of a sudden earning really good money. They didn't have to leave their country; they could stay there, and that sort of built up the country as well. Now you pull the rug out from under those people, and it will have an effect on their economies. Now it depends on which third world nation we're talking about, right? But I think India, most of Southeast Asia, parts of Eastern Europe, and parts of South America, they will be affected significantly, right? And probably most significantly the Philippines, Vietnam, and Southeast Asia, Malaysia to some extent. In the Eastern Bloc countries, a lot of people in Bulgaria, Hungary, that are very, very cheap. I think Venezuela has a service desk industry as well. So it will affect the third world. It will not affect the third world though, as it will affect the first world, because in the third world, the pervasiveness of AI and the use of it is certainly not as far advanced as it is in countries like the United States, Australia, and then in areas like Europe, where you've got first world nations clung together, even China, Hong Kong, etc. The usage of computers, AI, and doom scrolling is a real thing, whereas people in the third world, they're more concerned about making a buck and having something to eat the next day, right? So there will be an impact, but the catastrophic impact will be in the first world. And it will not be on the rich people. So if you've got assets today, and maybe you're close to retirement, then you're okay. If you're in the middle or at the beginning of your career, that's tough. That's going to be tough. You're going to compete with machines. The interesting thing is this: nobody's going to look at the actual cost of AI, right? So let me explain. Whenever these things are done, it's done on a spreadsheet, okay? And they have a person X is worth $100,000, and I put my AI machine in. That $100,000 disappears. Now it doesn't disappear, obviously, because AI runs on computers, and those computers are sitting in data centers, and those data centers are sitting somewhere, and they need electricity, and they need cooling, and they need all kinds of things, right? So water and electricity is what those things need, and there's a cost associated with that. But that cost is never really fully calculated against the value of the person. Right? I mean, we all know the cost exists, but it's never, ever really articulated, not properly. And we know the cost is going to be massive. Bitcoin mining was consuming the equivalent of a small nation's energy consumption, right? Like, I don't know, let's say Venezuela or Colombia, not Colombia. Colombia. Yeah, Colombia. No, but like it's all small African nation. Enough energy to the Bitcoin mining. Now, this AI consumption of energy is on a whole different level. It's magnitudes higher. And more data centers are coming out. And these are special chips. You see, you need a lot of compute and storage power. And it will get to the point where we will compete as people with the machines for water and for electricity. Fleece and the Fleece asked an interesting question. What if someone used the Stuxnet virus into a system totally ran AI computers? Look, this is okay. So there are two conversations that are being had today with anyone in the computer industry. One is AI. That's the first conversation. But immediately afterwards, it's cybersecurity. Okay, that's a critical thing. So cybersecurity is super duper important these days. Now, with the advent of quantum computing, if once it becomes more usable, let's say, maybe even a consumer commodity, we will see an increased frequency of systems failing. Okay, because encryption and security protocols won't mean anything anymore. A quantum computer, with the right software and with the right mindset, will be able to hack through anything. Okay, that's what's going to happen. And but the redundancy, in my opinion, will be such that you will hardly even notice it. Okay. Of course, I mean, what happens if we have a Carrington event? Well, then it's all cactus anyway. It all goes down, right? It all completely shuts down. There's nothing left, and we go back to I guess the 19th century, right? We're going back to gaslighting and such. Honestly, though, I don't think that would be the worst thing that could happen to us. Okay, I don't think that's the worst thing. Sorry, the Carrington event was a massive solar flare that hit the Earth, and it allowed telegraphs to be sent without any actual electricity to be connected to the telegraph lines. That's how much ambient electricity was in the atmosphere. Quite the thing. If that had happened now, like, rather than 100 and something years ago. Um, like I said, we would just pack it in, and that'd be it. Um, but look, yes, if you put all your eggs in one basket, chances are you're not going to have a pavlova tonight. They will break, you will lose them, you can drop the basket, all kinds of things can happen. That's of course not ideal. There are people working on those problems as well, and there are probably solutions to this problem that we can't think of, and this is important to understand. And then I'll go to another topic as well. AI will design AI. Already we are not designing the latest AIs. They're designing them themselves. Okay? It's like you create a flower, you got an orchid, through various generations of breeding, and then that orchid gets together with another orchid and starts breeding its own orchids. That's where we are, right? In ways that we can't even think of. It looks at like the AI is capable today, and that's just today, to look at problems completely differently to us. And I mean, you might think that you know a lot of stuff, and that's great. And the ocean of knowledge available to AI is vastly greater than any one human brain or even a think tank can muster. So that's the real problem that we're going to face. A real problem. So my best career advice for anyone out there in the world, maybe in their late teens, maybe even your 20s, learn a trade. Plumber, electrician, carpenter, even bricklayer. Because at this point, until we've got robotization and the manufacture of robots down to a very affordable level, which we're nowhere near, human labor and human hands-on know-how and skill is still required. At some point, we'll have machines that can do all of that stuff, yes. But right now, and for the next probably 20 to 30 years, I think trades are still a very safe bet, right? Or even a chef, maybe even a hairdresser, like do something specialized, okay? Do something that requires maybe manual labor. Unfortunately, we can't all be plumbers, right? Even the medical profession, the legal profession, none of them are safe. The two classes or three classes. There are three classes of jobs that are completely safe from AI. Right? One, politicians. Completely safe because they'll make the laws and they'll make sure that they, pass all the laws that protect them. Check in a box. The parasites, the super rich, which politicians are sort of part of as well. It's like a Venn diagram, right? And they're going to be fine, obviously. The super rich are going to be fine. That's okay. But then the third group, which is going to be completely unaffected by this, is the clergy. Any religion, any church person, any priest or rabbi or whatever monk, nun, they're going to be perfectly safe and completely unaffected by this. Okay, those are the three professions or the three groups of jobs that I can see not being affected at all. Oh, one more question, please. Of course. Has anyone in Australia produced a how-to book on how to build up those cool apocalyptic cars in Mad Max? And no, and the reason they look the way they do is because they were fixed by bush mechanics. Make do with what you have, right? You might think they look cool, but they're extremely functional and absolutely necessary to traverse the desert in the way that they look. But yeah, the important thing in the Fleece and the Fleece mentions is learn how to fix, build, and maintain stuff. 100%. Become useful, all right? Not just to yourself, but to your community. Be that person that can fix things, that understands things. Knowledge is never wasted. Okay, but I do maintain that the trades, in my opinion, are still the safest. They've even taught a robot. This is just a robot, no AI here, right? to make the perfect fried rice. I mean, all you do is you program the machine, or what you do is actually you put motion points on a person, on the chef, and then you save those and you put them into your robot arm, or the robot assembly, and then that arm will grab the wok and throw all the stuff in that the chef threw in. As long as everything is in the right place and always refilled, this robot arm is going to make the perfect fried rice every time. If the chef had made the perfect fried rice, of course, in the first place, right? No doubt about it. So that's a real thing. That's going to happen. It's not good. Everybody's talking about, I don't know if you've noticed this, but universal basic income is coming up more and more, and what to do with the excess labor force. Now, I've been asking this question for a number of years now. What are we doing with the excess labor force? Who is going to buy all this stuff when nobody has a job anymore? You make all this stuff, right? But who's going to buy it? No one can buy it because no one has any money. That's stupid, right? So that our social organization, our society, even our civilization have to be completely reorganized. Okay, and we're not living in an egalitarian society. We don't. We live some of us living in a social democracy. In Europe, even Australia, America is not. America will be hit hardest because in America, if you don't have a job or if you're not wealthy, that's your fault. Of course, it's not. Of course, it's not. But that's the attitude. So I think Americans are going to be hit really hard by this, specifically. Whereas, the Europeans have a bit more socially minded governments and socially minded cultures. Australia is a welfare state from the start. The taxes here are fairly high, and a lot of people have unemployment benefits, all kinds of benefits, etc., etc. So it's sort of founded on that ethos of mateship and egalitarianism. So, you're looking for a good place to be, to sit this out. New Zealand and Australia. And if you have money, go to Southeast Asia. Anywhere there is good. Okay, if you have money. But yeah, other than that, Australia and New Zealand, those are the places. Canada's probably pretty good as well. Canada, anything that's sparsely populated, that's critical. And if you do go to New Zealand or Australia or Canada, avoid the big cities. If you can afford to live in the countryside, that should be your destination. That's my opinion. People that are autonomous usually weather these kinds of crises better than people that are completely dependent upon the infrastructure functioning. So ask yourself, what are you going to do if there's no food tomorrow in the supermarket? What happens if your water stops running? What happens if the electricity goes out? Ask yourself those questions. Can you cope with that? Are you equipped or not? Right? And then we're getting into this whole Mad Max thing, but that's fair while down the road. Not quite there yet. No. So yeah, it is not all lollipops and sunshine, honey cakes and buttercups. This is serious stuff. We're looking at a civilizational event that will completely change the way we live, and it will completely change the way we value each other as well. Okay, but to my point that I made every time that I'm talking, we can no longer afford billionaires. If AI goes ahead, they are the ones that are going to reap the biggest benefits from this. Look, I'm not a communist, but at some point you have to say enough is enough. How much is enough? Is it really sensible to have trillions of dollars amassed in the hands of 2,500 people? Like the majority of the world's wealth is concentrated in 2,500 billionaires and one nascent trillionaire, potentially, Mr. Musk. Is that sensible? Nobody works that hard or deserves that kind of money. Nobody. It's a farce. It is absurd. It's ludicrous. It is absolutely stomach churning that we have allowed this to happen. We have allowed capitalism to run rampant, and then fascism, because we no longer live in capitalism. This is now fascism. As soon as the government steps in to save, right, to save private companies and banking system, that's fascism. It's no longer capitalism. The banks should have failed in 2008. The banks should have failed. People should have gone to prison like they did in the 80s. One person went to prison in 2008. One person. Some small-time trader in Singapore, I think. One person. Okay, and in America alone, $1 trillion was spent to bail out the banks, mostly tax money. Okay, $1 trillion. 1,000 billion dollars. Right? Thanks, Felice. Yeah, what about the yacht builders and the hypercar manufacturers? How do they survive without the filthy rich? Exactly. So these niche industries, if they disappeared tomorrow, there would be no impact on the economy. Right? Yacht builders and hypercar manufacturers, if they all shut down shop tomorrow, zero impact on the economy. None. You wouldn't even feel a ripple. Right? You get with the middle class, the whole system collapses, and that's what we're doing right now. That's where we're heading. But it is certainly. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So Fleece and the Fleece says smoke and mirrors got them through that. Obama bailed them out. I was astounded when it happened, and they knew he would. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Big Short. If you haven't, please. This is the best rendering of the story that I've ever come across in book or film format. The Big Short. Watch it. It is not a movie. It is not entertainment. It's a documentary. That's exactly what happened. Pretty much. I mean, some artistic license, I'm sure, but other than that, it's pretty much exactly what happened. They just didn't care. Dave always talks incompetence. I talk lack of care. If you know you're going to be okay, who cares? I don't care, whatever. Do whatever I want. I don't care. You're wrecking the economy. You're wrecking the world economy. Yeah, but I'm going to be okay, right? The government is going to bail us out, so I don't care. That's where we are. That's where that was. And that brings me to the next point I want to talk about, this whole debacle in America around the administration. And I mean, what are you guys doing? It matters what you do. People have always looked to America, I mean, it's not perfect, right? But for some kind of moral compass, ever since World War II. Now, they're ordering a double tap on a strike, on an alleged drug boat. The first strike, okay, you strike the boat, but then there's survivors, right? And then you strike it again, you kill the survivors. That's against the rules of law. It just is. Okay, if you stop engaging according to the rules of law, according to the Geneva Conventions, then it's chaos, anarchy again. The whole reason we have the Geneva Conventions, the whole reason for that is war is barbaric and brutal enough as it is. Right? And in the olden days, they would just put the prisoners of war to death, or starve them, or whatever. There was no common rule set really, right? That existed. But then we had World War I, World War II, and the Geneva Conventions are there to safeguard or to introduce at least a little bit. Okay. At least a little bit. No. You see, this Fleece and the Fleece is disagreeing with me, which is cool. I dig it. If you're running an assassination campaign, I agree. If you engage the army, the U.S. military, and this was the Navy, right? You need to follow the rules of engagement. If you play by the cartel rules, as you suggest, that's it. And then they have won. Game is over. Okay, America no longer has any standing for anything. This is the argument, which I also find hard sometimes to reconcile. If you sink to the level of your opponent, if your opponent is playing dirty or not by the rules, then what's the difference between you and them? You're not the same. You're not the same. That's how it is. I mean, if you are going to do that, then you have to go the whole hog and you do what Mao did. Do you know what Mao did? On his long march, he went from town to town in China. It took him a long time, years, to finish his march. But the biggest problem that China had at the time was opium addiction, and this was, obviously introduced by the British, and because they wanted the entire Chinese population addicted to opium, so they're easy to control. So he killed all the drug dealers, and he killed all the drug addicts. He killed supply, and he killed demand in one fell swoop. All right. If that's what you're wanting, if that is your argument, okay. If that is what you see, this is the wrong argument, please. It's not one hand behind your back. Either you have the moral high ground or you don't. If you don't have it, don't claim it then. Don't claim it. Right? You can't throw mud on other people. If you're in a glass house, you can't throw rocks. Right? So I'm not against what Mao did, by the way. That's fine by me. But America is claiming the high ground, the moral high ground. Oh, we rules of engagement, we're within the law, etc., etc. And that's because Congress, the Senate, the American people asked that. I don't know if you remember the guy in the Philippines, I forget his name now, the president. He went around shooting drug dealers in the street with his people. Okay? Mao did the same thing back in the day. If that's what you want, then start in America. Kill all the drug dealers and kill all the drug users. Kill them all. You kill the demand, you kill the supply. Okay, that's what you have to do. If you really want to go there, right? Because this is the thing. Okay? This is the thing. Do you really think these tiny little boats bringing a lot of drugs into America? You've just pardoned the president of Honduras just now, who was implicated in bringing hundreds of tons of cocaine into America. Hundreds of tons of cocaine. What is that? Why would you pardon that guy but then blow Venezuelan boats out of the water? Okay? It makes no sense at all. It's a completely mixed message. I mean, none of this makes any sense. It just doesn't. So you have to ask yourself, well, where do we stand? What happens here? What goes on? Well, if this becomes muddled and you lose any standing that you have, then this is what happened. The Europeans have already stopped sharing intelligence with you in America. They've already stopped when it comes to Venezuela and those boats. They're no longer sharing intelligence with the Americans. That's what's happening. If America wants to go all alone, okay. America can't survive on its own in the world. There are too many things it needs to import to live, at least to maintain the current standard of living. Right? Never mind what's going to happen once we have AI. If you don't follow your own rules, right, then you are alone, and you can no longer say, hey, we do it the right way. We are the good guys. No, you're not. You're not the good guys. Start at home. Kill the drug dealers in America. Kill the drug addicts in America. Are you willing to do that? Mao did that. He saved China. No argument. No argument. He saved China. Okay? But if you have to think it through to the last consequence. And don't blow up little boats. How many drugs can they possibly bring in? 1 ton? Maybe 2? Maybe not even that. Maybe we're talking hundreds of kilos. Maybe we're talking kilos of drugs. America has an influx of thousands of tons of drugs every year. Thousands of tons. You really think that can't be stopped? Why do you think anyone has an interest in really stopping the drugs coming into America? The drug business is a multi-billion or hundreds of billions of dollar business a year. Globally. And the CIA, as well as a few other choice intelligence agencies around the world, finance most of the operations with drug money. Remember Iron Contra? Remember, all those drugs for money scandals? Oliver North, General. You remember any of that? Anyone remember any of that? Okay. So, no. Fentanyl doesn't come. Fentanyl doesn't come from the south of the border. It doesn't. But that's neither here nor there. I don't really care which drugs make it to America, to be honest. There's too much money at stake to stop the drug trade. The drug trade will never stop. Why? Too much money. The secret agencies, even Wall Street. Where do you think this money is laundered? Wall Street runs on drug money. You think I'm lying to you? Read Mike Rupert's book In the Wilderness. Mike Rupert. He was, I think he was a cop, an FBI agent in LA. The CIA approached him. I'm not sure if he's still alive or not, but the CIA, ever since certainly since the Vietnam War, maybe earlier, have been in the drug trade. Okay, and they're laundering it through Wall Street. That's how it works. There's a lot of money involved, a lot of money. That's why it won't stop. Stopping a boat here and there, the war on drugs, it's a complete nonsense. It's just a media. It's just a media circus. Oh, look what we did. Well, we got this war on drugs. Da, da, da. Yes, yes, hurrah! Look at us. If the U.S. government really wanted to stop the drugs from coming into the States or even being cooked in the States, they could. But they don't. Okay? Again, this is the same story as with Epstein. Too many rich parasites have their finger in it. This will never stop. Do you think child abuse and pedophilia has stopped because Epstein is dead? No. Someone else has taken over the reins. Okay, and now Hexed, did he give the double tap order? Did he not give it? He's a failure. He should just disappear. Same with Kash Patel. These people aren't fit to run your... These people are running the largest police as well as military organizations in the world. America, hands down, top-notch, largest, most powerful. No one would argue that. But look at the Muppets that are in charge. I'm sorry, they're Muppets. Okay? I have no idea why they're there. They're completely unqualified for these jobs. And you're paying the price. Right? You're paying the price economically as well. You know, things aren't getting cheaper. And you're just marching into the night. You're silently going into the night. That's what you're doing. No one is protesting it. Everybody thinks, oh, but Donald Trump is going to save us. The only person Donald Trump is going to save is himself. That's it. He is a piece of work. I'll give him that. But understand. Okay? Understand that this administration, these next 3 years, are the end of America as you know it. This is it. You've now come to the end of America. Okay? There will be no going back to the way it was. This is now finished. You're now in a new chapter of America. It's not a bad thing. Okay? No, Sergeant Miller. This administration is fundamentally different from past administrations. You see, the thing is this. Trump was meant to drain the swamp, right? He built a whole new swamp. He is the swamp. He made the swamp look like a little kiddie pool compared to what he's doing. All right, all the graft and enrichment. But personally, his family, his kids, and others, the people he pardons, convicted crypto, gangsters, if you will, right? The Chinese guy, as well as the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who we are. The CIA. His CIA said the Crown Prince ordered the killing of the reporter in Istanbul. It was Trump's CIA that said it in his first administration. Okay? This system of government has now failed. Donald Trump is the last nail in the coffin. Whatever comes after is not going to be the same as before. And the swamp is going to get deeper. And if you think the corruption is bad now, you wait and see what America looks like in 10 years from now. 10 years from now. You think idiocracy was harsh? 10 years from now, you will not recognize your country. This is now a completely different ballgame. And you have to wake up, please. You're smart people. You're listening to the station. You're listening to the station because We talk about things that others don't talk about. I'm not just talking about me and Dave here. I'm talking about all the people on the station. Right? Initially, I understand why people supported Trump. I really understand. I get it. Okay. And Trump is sorry, fleece in the fleece. Trump is not the top of the food chain. Okay, not even close. Not even close. The people that are truly in charge, you've never seen them. It's not the Rothschilds either, right? The truly powerful people have not been visible for a very, very long time. And they like it like that. Right? The French Revolution was a wake-up call. Okay? The truly powerful people have no media profile at all. None. Zero. And Hitler was afraid of them. Did you know that? Hitler was afraid of the people in the background. He said it a number of times. And no, Trump, any president, no, anyone that is in the public's eye is not the top of the food chain. Full stop. Okay? All the stuff that's going on with UAPs and UFOs and tech that is 400 years ahead of us, he doesn't know about any of this. Okay, I don't think he's read in. He's read into the Great Reset, sure enough, and the managed decline. Yeah, I agree with that. But he's not read into that at all. Not even close. Okay, but yeah, why would you why would you pardon the Honduras president, a convicted drug trafficker, and then blow up boats coming from Venezuela, nowhere near the amount of drugs on as there would have been coming out of Honduras. And Putin is going to get what he wants. There's not a chance that Putin is going to say yes to anything that doesn't give him territory. Trump will always take Putin's side. Okay? The sanctions and all the other nonsense, they haven't affected Putin at all. Even secondary sanctions on countries that are dealing with him. The only one that was sanctioned was India, because India pissed Trump off with other things. Okay, so to be clear, Trump is there to serve Putin. Trump is not the top of the food chain. Putin is not the top of the food chain, but Putin is closer to the top of the food chain than Trump. To be clear. Okay? Similarly, Netanyahu, he's going to get what he wants. Netanyahu will get what he wants. And the Netanyahu faction will annex the West Bank. They will annex Gaza. There will not be a Palestinian state. There will be no two-state solution. That ship has sailed. It's not going to happen. No two-state solution. I'm sorry to say. That's not fair. It's not. But it's reality. Okay? And then I think the Israelis just signed it into law as well recently. Okay? Just so we understand where we are. Okay? It's bleak, but not hopeless. Situation bleak, but not hopeless. I think, enjoy what you can in life. Because this is the truth. The truth is this. What we have is the moment. Each moment is us experiencing life. And that's all we know. That's all we can really ask for, the moment. Don't know about the next moment. The past moment is gone, but the moment I'm in right now, I have this one. This is my moment. I want to enjoy it. I want to live it. I want to feel this moment. Okay? So, I don't want to worry too much about the future. I mean, I will prepare for it, but I will enjoy each moment of my life, and I hope you can do the same. And it's a tough world for most people. It's not getting any easier. It's going to get a lot harder. If you're not prepared, look, I know we harp on about it, but have enough in your home or your house or wherever you are to, if that's what you want to do, right? To survive 3 or 4 months, at least. Have a safe location that you can go to. I mean, have a go bag if you really think you have to get away from something. If you're living in the big cities, right? Not like the suburbs, they're okay, but if you're in the big cities, that's a bad place to be, right? For the very simple reason is that once the supply chain breaks and nothing is delivered anymore, then well, that's it. Literally, that's it. There's nothing coming in anymore. How are you gonna survive? What you're gonna do, right? So yeah, it's a serious situation. It really is. It really is. And I think Donald Trump is there now in the second administration to accelerate the to accelerate our transition, let's call it, into the Great Reset, into the managed decline, to accelerate. He's already done it by the huge, massive tax cuts for his billionaire friends. That was the one thing he wanted to get through, and he's done it. Yeah, mission accomplished. Thank you very much. Right. So his people, because those are his people, not you, not you, not if you have to work for a living. Those are the people that his people that are parasites. They're the ones that hold enough wealth to fix all issues in the world. We could fix everything. We really could, if we wanted to, right? But no, someone to Fleece's point, needs a super yacht or a hypercar or whatever, right? Fair enough. Off you go. Do that. But this is really the thing, right? Oh yeah, no, I completely agree, Fleece. Trump is going to be fine. And the one thing that he can't let happen is to have the Epstein files released. That's the one thing that cannot happen. Okay? That cannot happen. Why? Because it would expose people that prefer not to be exposed. And it may lead to more things being uncovered that are much, much worse than a pedophile ring. What, Mackie, is much, much worse than a pedophile ring? I'll let your imagination run wild. That's something you have to consider, though, right? Like I said before, just because Epstein and his associates are no longer involved doesn't mean the thing, the trade, the business has stopped. We're talking about thousands of girls in 20 years. He didn't start this business. He stepped into it. I think he probably gave it a makeover, a facelift, and raised its profile, if you will, right? Made it socially acceptable. There you go. He made it socially acceptable. And now we're hearing apologists, like Dershowitz and Megyn Kelly. Oh yeah, but he liked the young girls, the 15-year-olds. Once you hear this and you hear people normalize, your alarm bells should go off. This is a normalization of something that is fundamentally wrong, and it's wrong, right? And the girls he supplied to these men, some have disappeared, right? A lot of women disappear. A lot of young girls disappear. Children disappear. Where do you think they're going? Where do you think they're going? They just shut down a satanic pedophilia worship ring here in Sydney, in Australia. I think they arrested 6, 7, 8 men. Internet footage of video footage of children being abused in satanic rituals, animals being abused in satanic rituals. You think this is a joke? It doesn't matter if you believe in the devil or God or anything. There are people out there that do, and there are people out there that actually act on it. That's a scary thing. That's really scary. The stuff that goes out in the real world, just be glad that you don't get too many glimpses of it, if any. It's terrifying. There's some things I just won't talk about on the air. It's not that I'm afraid I can't start my car in the morning. It's because of the nightmares I'm going to put in your head. There's some things you don't want to know. Let me assure you, though, that what Epstein did is like Disneyland in comparison to what's really out there. Okay? If Epstein is Disneyland, can you imagine what the real world is like? is this even our horror movies don't come close to what actually happens in the world. Okay, it's a dark place in some corners of the world. Some corners of the world are very, very, and if you are powerful, I mean, I'm talking about ultimate power. No one can touch you. If you're that kind of person, you want to taste it all, right? The Saudi crown prince ordered the assassination and dismemberment of a reporter he didn't like. And Trump was, he didn't know anything about it, and that reporter wasn't liked by anyone either, or many people didn't really like him. Is that so? So if some people don't like you, it's okay for you to be killed and dismembered. That's what Donald Trump is saying, essentially. Forget the crown prince for a second, right? But what Donald Trump is saying, not many people liked him or whatever. So it is okay to kill him then, and it's also okay to dismember him, and I don't think we've ever found his body or whatever. Is that all right? Is it? That's Donald Trump's his line of argument here that is going down. Oh, yeah, that's okay. But this war crimes thing that's now being hung on Hexet, that's the big one. Just America internal. Forget the outside world. America internal, Congress and Senate, they might hang Hexet on this one if it's going to be investigated. This could be the end of Hexet, but that's okay. Just get someone else in there. And like I said, Bongiorno and Patel shouldn't be there either. Completely incompetent. It's just astounding. It's almost like incompetence is the new what's it? The new black. It's in fashion. Orange is the new black, right? This is so incompetence. It's the new thing. It's the new fashion thing. It's like, what? No. But yes, incompetence and lack of care. I just don't care. I don't care. Meh. It's like when George Costanza was working in this company, and nobody in the company cared at all about the company except for George, who was the guy who normally didn't care. And he got really upset because nobody else cared, so he started caring. If you haven't seen that Seinfeld episode, it's hilarious. You should really go ahead and watch it. The Penske file. But no, that was a different company. That was a different company, not the Penske. But yeah, it's where we are. It's where we are. It's the truth of the matter. We must be prepared. We must also be able to stand up and be counted when it comes down to it. Are you ready to stand up and be heard? Right? Are you ready to be heard? Because they're not hearing you now, I can tell you that. They're not hearing you. And Fleece said something very important. He bought and ran the beauty pageant business for many years. Access to all those young beauties. That's exactly right, Fleece. That's exactly right. Look at a person and what they are attracted to. What do they naturally gravitate toward? Right? Like they say, was it birds of a feather flock together? It's true. You will find your tribe. We all find our tribes. The people that you connect with, the people that you might not see for years, but the relationship doesn't change. You're still fast friends. It's a thing. It's a real thing. Okay, so bear in mind that it certainly isn't as bleak as all that, but it is probably bleaker than you think it might be. And we still have time to do something. We're not living in the 15-minute city. We're not in the panopticon yet. They haven't chipped us yet. They haven't tagged us yet. None of that has happened yet. The AI has not taken over yet. We haven't all lost our jobs yet. Not yet. Don't be complacent. If you can do something about it, do it. And that's the music. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back on Thursday, maybe with, Sleepy Dave. Sleepy Dave. Maybe not. Hope you enjoyed this. If you see us out in the wild, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and all those good things. Please do. I'd like to do this for a living one day. That'd be really good, actually. That'd be awesome. But in the meantime, be safe.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.